that was asked that fans asked me to ask on the show. So I appreciate y'all, and I'm gonna go through this again solo. Okay, the state of SCI, deception, downplay, and the death of a vision. Welcome back to the show. Today we're cutting through the smoke and mirrors surrounding Steel City Interactive and the undisputed boxing game. We're talking inexperienced hires, deception managing, messaging, questionable bans, ignored fan feedback, and why SCI is treating passion, knowledgeable boxing fans like we're clueless or children. Rackzilla return and deceptive framing. Will Rackzilla Kinza reappears on Discord, but instead of transparency, he reframes past events, calls playable ESBC builds videos to downplay that they were functional representations of Ash Habib's original vision. Ash, you gotta say something, please. Uses Raxilla uses it was before my time as a distant tactic to avoid accountability for the game's drastic pivot. Raxilla no, worse, he appears to have sidelined as vision and restarted with his own direction. A hybrid arcade boxing game that no core fan asked for. The sim foundation Ash was building towards gone. What we have now feels closer to EA Fight Night than the NBA 2K of boxing that was promised. And what makes it so bad, there's a lot of EA hires on the team. Here's my talking prompts. Why call a playable build a video unless you're trying to erase the context? Facts. Why? Was the restart designed to push out sim mechanics in favor of arcade gameplay? Great question. And I think it was. To both questions. How much of the current product is Raxzilla Vision, not Ash? Exactly. Ask yourself that. Really ask yourself that. It's not Ash Vision. If you saw the original vision that Ash had that got the 1 million views, no matter what, everybody keep trying to twist it and change what it is. 1 million copies were sold. 1 million views on that video. That's what sold. Undisputed. That's so undisputed. So no matter what anybody says, that's what did it. Why did communication shift from hype to corporate spin? Exactly. Ask yourself that. Really ask yourself that. All right. Downplaying boxing credentials. Moderators and community managers downplay or dismiss my boxing background or accolades and my involvement in video game development. In some aspect, I was a part of video game development. It's like y'all try to dismiss it or ignore it or try to keep it from fans. We have boxing fans on the team. We have boxing fans on the team. Gets used as PR cover. But having fans isn't the same as having seasoned boxing influence gameplay. I have decades of involvement, fought amateur and pro, and spoke with countless developers. Yes, I have. No matter how you try to twist it or try to dismiss me, I am one of them people that ask questions, aggravate developers, aggravate owners of video game companies, aggravate boxers. This isn't my ego. It's about removing qualified voices. This isn't ego. It's about removing qualified voices from the room. Exactly. They're removing everybody that's trying to speak or say something to better this game. They're not trying to tear this game down. They're really not. But they're not going to accept a game that they don't want, that they pay $70 or more, especially with the DLC. Here go my talking prompts for what I just read. Why dismiss actual boxing expertise while elevating those with little to no combat sports dev background? Why did real boxing credentials stop mattering for a boxing game? Is SCI intentionally avoiding voices that might challenge their direction? Gotta ask yourself that. A lot of questions that's making, that's trying to make sense. Inexperienced hires. SCI is stacking the team with inexperienced developers over potential talent. I think this is a smokescreen because why would the moderators or the community managers tell us this? Why would anybody tell us this? Why even a developer? Why would they tell us this? That makes no sense. That goes against your company. Why would you say you got experienced developers on the team? That's a smokescreen. That's really an excuse for why the game is in the predicament it is. And to me, it's not really an excuse because if you look on LinkedIn or any site that's hiring developers, there are plenty experienced developers out there that they can negotiate with to have on the team. There's plenty developers that would die to be on this team to create a boxing game. Especially the vision that Ash won. A lot of developers wanted. Okay. Is this to save money or to avoid pushback on design choices? The result is inconsistent systems, half-finished mechanics, and questionable decisions. Now here's the talking prompts. Who's doing the hiring? Why prioritize why prioritize inexperienced developers? Excuse me. How many on the team have zero boxing or sports sim history? Is this about control rather than quality? Gotta ask yourself, you gotta question that. Question these things, ask these questions in the Discord and on social media. All right, here goes something. The head of design game director problem. The head of design game director has no sports or combat gaming history. His track record is writing books, but books writing doesn't deliver the realism boxing fans want. Leadership without domain expertise risk design decision disconnect from the sport. Now here go talking prompts. Why is the top creative role filled by someone without the relevant background? Does book writing expertise translate into boxing sim design? How can fans trust the vision without proven combat sports game leadership? Facts. Why didn't SCI hire Poe? SCI claimed they weren't hiring outside the UK. They were saying that in the beginning. They really was. And a week later, then they brought in Ty Grissom, Boxing Fanatical, Will Kinsler, Jay Shep, and more from the US. Meanwhile, I was passed over despite decades of experience and accolades for realistic boxing games. Some hires had no dev background, just casual boxing fandom. The talking prompts. Why is the UK only claim if multiple UF hires were made? Were they avoiding someone who knows the sport too well? While while choosing unqualified casuals over boxing game experts. No shade to boxing fanatical. No shade whatsoever. It's not meant as it wasn't meant that way for you. As shall be decisions. If investors and publishers were the bottleneck, why didn't Ash buy them out or renegotiate? He had community trust, momentum, and he had a unique product. The pivot to an EA style hybrid was not what the original backers supported. Exactly. That's not what they supported. And I'm pretty sure that video that got 1 million views, that's what caught their attention. Was Ash sidelined from his own project? A big question, a huge question, but I'm pretty sure we'll never get answered. The talking prompts. Was the NBA 2K boxing line just marketing? I don't think so. I don't think when Ash said that, he wasn't doing it for marketing because he said it numerous times and he said it, in private. And he said he wanted the game to be realistic. He didn't say authentic. He said he wanted to be realistic. He wanted to capture boxing realistically. He wanted the game to be over ambitious. Why not protect the original vision at all costs, Ash? Could early sales success have been used to regain control? Yes, it could have. The lost source code or work in progress myth. SCI act like old builds, work in progress codes, and assets are gone. Reality, studios always keep archives. Suggestion otherwise insults anyone who's been around game development. Talking prompts. Why pretend restoring old builds is impossible? Exactly. Is this just to avoid returning to more sim accurate versions? Are they hiding the old mechanics? Excuse me. Are they hiding? Are they hiding the old mechanics were better for realism? Exactly. Excuse me. Leafy Band and the movement with no Pacifics. Discord ban Leafy Discord ban looked like silencing a critic more than enforcing rules. Talk of movement and development without dates or detail is empty PR. Talking prompts. Was the ban about rule breaking or shutting down dissident? Is vagueness on progress deliberate to hide delays? Is vagueness on progress deliberate to hide delays? How do fans stay engaged while updates say nothing concrete. Exactly. They want fans to stay engaged with this game when the game is dying. It's dying faster than it was before. The AI developer problem and publisher investor mindset. SCI removed the AI developer and never replaced them. The AI is the brain of a boxing game. Without it, there's no realism and tendencies, decision making, or style. Investors, publishers still think arcade sports games sell better. They are stuck 20 and 30 years in the past. DLC won't sell if the base game lacks authentic mechanics. I'm pretty sure this game is not selling DLC like it first started. Fans getting tired of what the game is. All right, the talking prompts. Why no AI development replacement? Great question. Why? Why Still City? Do decision makers even want a sim boxing game? Who's really calling the shots? Exactly. I have a feeling who is. I really do. It's not Ash. It's not Ash cannot be calling the shots or saying a lot about this game. Is transparency a smokescreen? I really think so. Don't keep saying transparency. They tell us a few truths and a lot of lies, deception. What's possible versus what we're getting? If the big dogs made a boxing game, EA Sports, big budget, realism possible. But gamers doubt they'll go sim. Could develop dynamic career, true stamina damage, official belts. I don't know about the official belts, but Still City showed EA that they were lying all this time about getting the belts, which I knew already because I was talking to all these the people that had the belts, the WBC, the IBO, the IBA, the WBC, the WBA, all of them, the IBF. I was talking to all these people. 2K Sports, deepest career promoter mode in history with a live boxing world. That's what 2K Sports will bring to the table. Konami, victorious boxers. This is what they bring to the table. Best footwork, stamina the in the game. Modern for motion match animations and style realism. Capcom, esports ready control and present precision. Sega, RGG Studio. Story driven career with gym building and side content. Rockstar Games, open world boxing drama from underground fights to world titles. Past games and today's tech. Fight Night Champion, 4K, ray tracing arenas, physics-based damage. That's what Fight Night Champion will look like with today's tech. Victorious boxers with today's tech. Perfect movement, stamina realism, hybrid anime realistic visuals. Knockout King, huge roster, era Pacific presentation. Modern modes that could be delivered. Full career mode, promoter mode, legacy mode, esports circuit, cinematic story mode, historic rivalries, amateur circuit, gym builder, community creation suite, which is a major to keep the community here. Community creations is huge. I keep telling you, community creations has their own community. This will help drive the game with all the other things that I mentioned, especially the mechanics. I'm telling you, if a company made a boxing games without realistic boxers, a lot of people will complain. But once they see the mechanics and how the game play, they will accept it. And boxers will be begging to be a part of the game. It's mechanics, it's not the names. They're too focused on the skins and the names of boxers. That's not going to draw the gamers in after a while. All right, the transition. That's what's possible. That's what other companies could deliver right now. Now let's look at what SCI is not delivering. Fan wish list versus SCI silence. Core mechanics and gameplay. I was just talking about that. Cab revamp. More slots. Weight scaling. Separate punch strikes. Clinching with punches. More taunts. More illegal blows. More styles. Fixed haymakers. Unique power punches. Logo creator. Community creation. More stance. Full-time ref in the ring. And my thing is, a lot of people say they're not important, but they're important. At the end of the day, will say, this can't be done. Stop repeating what the developers want you to believe. In this day and age, it can be done. Let's look it up if you want to. I could do a whole show talking about this. Anything that you want in a boxing game can be in a boxing game. It's on the developers and the studio. Don't let them keep brainwashing you. AI and realism. Replace AI developer. Replace AI developer. Add realistic tendency. Fix footwork. Stamina realism. Dynamic damage. Fence. Pivots. Ring craft. Exactly. All these things. And these are the things that we were seeing in the beginning until they pivoted, changed from it. Transparency and trust. Why ban Leafy? No hiring transparency. Daggone, what's going on? Vague movement. Updates. Unqualified hires. Publishers and direction. Why investors still think arcade sim versus sim? Why DLC over core fixes? Why pivot from Ash Vision? That's the question. Like publisher and director, and direction. Why the publishers and the investors, they still think we 30 and 20 years ago. All right, closing punch for the segment. One side is what's possible, the other side is what we're actually getting. The gap between those two is where this game is losing the very fans it was built for. Exactly. Additional critical questions for SCI. Why are key elements still absent? Why act like sim realism is niche? Exactly. Why moderate criticism instead of addressing it? Exactly. That's because y'all literally just disrespected the community by getting rid of Leafy over his criticism. It's like, be nice about everything, even if you don't like it. He wasn't saying it real disrespectful. He wasn't saying it in a way that, he was like really disrespecting the team. Not at all. Who's making the real decisions? We know who's making a real decision, and it's not Ash. Why not be transparent about mechanics removed? They constantly removing mechanics, and it seems like they're not working on them. It's like, let's remove them, add them to another game, and call them a great feature. We worked on it, and we know we fixed it. It's in the game. Watch what I say. If they're really working on Undisputed 2, all the things they removed and didn't address or add, like referee, it's going to be in Undisputed 2, and they're going to say, look what we got. We finally added. We finally figured it out. Stop. The technology exists for everything we want to be in a game. Stop. Your perspective. Decorated amateur career, me. Professional boxing experience, me. Spoke with countless developers, me. Advocate for realistic boxing games for decades, definitely me. This isn't ego. It's holding SEI accountable to its original promise. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing. And stop being mad at me wanting what I want. It's like me being a vegan and you trying to force me to eat meat. It's not going to happen. Now, here's the mic drop. Boxers and fans, no more. It's just a game. That's what they always saying. And you got these content creators and some of the Discord followers. You got people saying it's just a game. Yeah, it's a game that's trying to emulate a sport. I'm going to keep saying it. 2K is trying to emulate basketball. Please stop talking about 2K. I mean, when I say 2K, everything got to be about microtransaction and all the other stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 2K that constantly kept winning awards for presentation and gameplay. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about none of this nonsense that, like with the microtransactions and DLC, none of that. Especially for DLC is for a AAA company, to me, is robbery. To me. To these indie companies and maybe AA companies, we kind of can let it slide a little bit. All right, let me get back to what I'm talking about. Boxers, past and present. It's time to speak up. Too often we hear it's just a game as an excuse for watered down, inaccurate portrayals. But a boxing video game isn't just a game. For millions of people, it's their first and maybe only introduction to the sport. And if that game misrepresents boxing, then it's misrepresenting you. If you're Muhammad Ali, your footwork and ring generalship should be exact. If you're Mike Tyson, your peekaboo style and explosive hook should feel like Tyson, not a generic brawler. If you're Mayweather, your shoulder roll and defensive counters need to be on point. If you're Lomachenko, your angles and pivots should be yours, not a reskin of someone else's move. Their angles and I think I saw pivots in the earlier. They looked good. They looked great. And it's like all of that stuff disappeared. If you're Katie Taylor, Clarissa Shields, or Amanda Saranda, your craft deserves the same depth and detail as any male champion. Actually, even though Amanda Serrano is not in the game, but actually, the women boxers look more realistic for us boxing mechanics than the men, and that's crazy. Silence. Let developers cut corners. No, silence. Let developers cut corners and hide behind nobody asked for it. Well, we're asking, and not just fans. Boxers and fans together are unstoppable. Here goes some rapid fire demands. Authentic tendencies, no generic punch patterns. Signature styles and movement down to the smallest detail. Real boxing mechanics, clinches, pivots, inside fighting. They had inside fighting. They did. It's like they just stopped working on it. We don't need to work on that. We don't need to waste time on that. You wasted time on nothing now. Nothing. Y'all are wasting time on nothing. Maybe you should have spent more time on inside fighting, the referee and things like that. Full-time referee. Accurate weight scaling. Deep customizable boxing creation. Exactly. We need more slots. I know that's not important to a lot of people, but we need more slots so we can help fill the divisions and the different modes, like the career mode, so we can fill the divisions, and even in offline mode, we should be able to fill the divisions. So when we do play career mode, that transfer over to our career mode. It's so many ideas I got on my brain, but a lot of people push me away because they're scared. Style-specific power punches. Smarter adaptive AI. Exactly. Y'all don't even have an AI person. That's a shame. It's sad. It really is. Transparent roadmaps. Oh, boy. I hate when I hear roadmaps now. It's like they really don't exist for Steel City anymore, because they don't went through so many bumpy roadmaps that they can't keep up with them. And that's because of your hiring process. Who is doing your hiring process? I bet if you gave me 1 or 2 days, I can hire the supreme team that you need, and they probably won't even break your bank. Whoever hiring your team, they're not doing a good job. I already looked and saw, I'm like, yo, why do they got this person, that person, and your team is it's like they're abusing they're abusing the job. My thing is, you can't look at a boxing video? Why can't you study boxing videos and you get insight on what needs to be done? You could be looking at a boxing video at the same time you're developing, and you can see what is wrong. You literally have visual things that you could use. Like, I know you do the motion caption, but the animator is very important too, because a lot of things that motion caption is not going to translate into the game the way that fans want it, or when you add extra animations. All right, publishers and investors, listen to your fans. Exactly. Listen to your fans, not what you think, because y'all keep going back. It's like everything more important than the fans, and you're losing your fans. If you're doing this just for the money and the DLC, sorry to tell you, it's not going to last that long. Give us a realistic boxing game. A hybrid or arcade game is not going to work in this day and time. Female boxer Alicia Baumgartner, she was very outspoken about this game and the direction, and she was rightfully so. I wish a lot more boxers talk about it. We need boxers to talk. A lot of boxers just happy they're in a game, but you're not being represented correctly. That should be a problem. Stop just being happy to be in a game. Make sure you're being represented realistically, and stop letting them tell you, well, we can't do this and we can't do that. Yes, you can. Tell them to talk the poll, because I could point it out. We got Google, and we got a lot of other things that'll tell you. I even got developers. I don't know if they'll talk against another developer because they act like doctors. Like they got a secret code. Oh, we can't talk bad about another developer. Not out in the open. Okay. Boxers, this is your legacy. Fans, this is our sport. Together we demand realism. And we won't stop until we get it. We gotta stick together. One voice. And I know for a fact when a lot of people stick together, because a lot of y'all keep saying that y'all just say, oh, Fight Night Champion didn't do good. And it has nothing to do with the people. Yes, it did. We stuck together. I remember, I distinctively remember when boxing fans were saying, we're going to not buy Fight Night Champion because they're not giving it. Once we found out that Fight Night Champion wasn't the game, when we start hearing from the game changers that went to see the game, that it wasn't what we want, we all agreed, and especially when I said on my podcast, I was doing my podcast, that the game was not what we wanted. A lot of fans was upset. And they weren't buying the game. They weren't going to buy the game. And they didn't. Stop keep thinking that the internet is not as powerful as it is. And podcasts, my podcast had a lot of viewers. And the word of mouth travels. Okay. The boxing game community isn't as naive as some in the SCI think. We've been here long before the game. We'll be here long after, and we know when we've been fed half truths. You can water down mechanics. You can't spin words, but you can spin words, but you can't erase what we've seen, played, and believe in. The truth is in the code. And no matter what they tell you, the code is still there. Facts. And this is how I'm going to end the video. I appreciate y'all. Those that watch the video, please share it. Please share it to as many people as you can. I just wanted to get this part out because, I had a lot of passionate people on my other show that I had before this, and I couldn't really get my script out. But I'm going to be more active. I'm going on every social media to make sure we get the game we want. If it's not SCI or EA, it's going to be someone. But, please share this video and please support the movement. Please, I beg of you. And salute to Leafy, AAJ Pax, Aram, and everybody in the community. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Croton because he pops up, and I had like a little feeling because the mods, they're like dedicated to Steel City, but at the way the game going, a lot of them are going rogue. And shout out to Gub, even though I don't want you coming on my podcast because you go back and forth. You trying to make up your mind what you want to be. Do you want to be a sim fan or you want to be an arcade fan? And your passion is not in it, so I prefer you to be who you are, but don't be deceptive. All right, salute, peace. And shout out to my boy Ant. Shout out to you, Ant. You need to get on one of these shows. I love. And my boy Papanosis. Pap, I was reading off some of your stuff. And the Wishlist Mafia. Y'all got to get on the show. Y'all gotta get on here. Let the OGs, reunite. I don't know what's going on with me right now, but I guess I'm tired. But we gotta get together and do a show for old time's sake. And shout out to Beast. I was supposed to get him on the show, and I apologize for not getting him on the show, but I'm gonna get him on a show. I'm definitely gonna get him on the show. And just shout out to all y'all. Share this video. Please make sure you share this video. And I think right after I'm about to jump on TikTok and address some stuff. But to the next show. Peace. Thank you. I appreciate y'all.